1059 The Region, covering the most important stories of all. Yours.
All right, parking in North America is always a concern, and how you enforce parking is something that's been evolving. And at the forefront of that is something called Barnacle Parking. To talk more about their really innovative way for keeping track of parking and monitoring parking, thrilled to be joined by their CEO, the chairman of Barnacle Parking, Colin Heffron. Colin, how are you?
Good, thanks. Good morning, and thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, for years, I associated with parking violators getting the Denver boot, but you have something that's completely different that goes on the windshield that replaces it and changes the metric for how cities and municipalities and townships monitor parking. Explain to the listeners what exactly is the Barnacle.
So it's an evolution in parking enforcement. I mean, it's a device that unfolds, weighs 17 pounds, and adheres to your windshield via two suckers that are controlled by an electric pump. But the really good news is if you do get it on your windshield, you can be on your way in 5 minutes by QR coding the device, getting online, paying your fines, and then you get a 4-digit code that you pump into the device. The vacuum's released, and you get a text on where to drop it off.
As opposed to the Denver boot where you were stuck there until you actually had to go to the town office and pay the fines.
Yeah, I mean, the Denver boot is, frankly, a bit archaic. You'd have to go all the way to the town pound, pay all your fines, go back, wait for your car. You know, it could be somewhere between 4 and 8 hours before you're on your way.
So I know it's now evolving to Canada. It's many locations in the United States. University of Regina are using it to enforce parking. It's coming around to other municipalities as well. The municipalities that use the Barnacle, what kind of feedback are you receiving, Colin?
So it's been great. I mean, one of the things that they really like is that it drives compliance. You know, if you go into a parking lot or drive through a town and cars are booted, you really can't see it, so you're not discouraged from parking illegally. Or if you tow a car, you know, no one knows it happened because the car's gone. Versus if you come, you know, down the lane and you see a bunch of cars with as Jimmy Fallon called it, SpongeBob on the front window, on the windshield, it's a great deterrent. So it doesn't take as many as you think to really drive compliance. And, you know, that's better revenue, clearer streets, more mobility.
Now, you just alluded to the SpongeBob comparison, and it's not just Jimmy Fallon, NYPD. A lot of different people are referring to that sort of a reference. But to have someone like Jimmy Fallon refer to your product has to feel good after all the work that's gone into it, Colin.
It does. It's my friends called it earned media, but yeah, my head exploded when we saw that. It's been a very, very good week, and we've been working very closely with NYPD. They're a great partner. And I think they're having a very successful time with it.
Now, for people listening, thinking if this comes to York Region, the GTA, Toronto, wherever you live, and you're just going to take it off your windshield, drive away, here's the rub. If you try to tamper with it, it has what they call a, quote, ear-piercing alarm, which I would imagine, Colin, you could hear from blocks away.
Yeah, it's got an ear-piercing alarm and a tamper alert, so the police will be informed directly if you're tampering with it, and then usually they send a policeman over to tow it or, you know, tell you to stop. So it's, you know, I know that people don't like to be immobilized, but this is a really lighter, softer touch. I mean, you really are on your way. And if you think about, you get to drive through streets that are much clearer because box trucks aren't blocking all the lanes. It's a pretty good result for everyone.
Speaking with Colin Heffron, the chairman of Barnacle Parking. And the reality is, Colin, whether you're on either side of the border, if you're a town or a city, the revenue from these parking fines is vital for services. So if you have multiple parking fines, you have to pay them.
No question. And, you know, that money goes directly to building schools, building better roads, having more police on the beat. You know, it's just part of the ecosystem that, you know, we need to support.
Okay, I have to ask you, how did you come up with the concept?
So I lived in London for a very long time in my early career, and I got booted fairly regularly. And I just found it, you know, very, 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 very painful. So a friend of mine, Russ Marks, and I started working on a plan to make a better solution. And we came up with the putting it on the windshield. But the aha moment was the self-release and the GPS tracking. That elevated the device to It was a little bit like when the cell phone came.
Yes.
People still had landlines for a while. I think there's very few people who have landlines, and I think there'll be very few people who tow or boot in the future.
And because of the technology, I mean, even your grandmother has a smartphone that can use a QR code and get her car released.
No, exactly. And, improvements will continue. I mean, it'll be tap friendly soon. So we're going to continue to invest in the product and make it more and more convenient. I mean, if it's safer for the administrator and more convenient for the violator, we feel like it's a better result for everyone.
Okay, so now here's the thing for people listening as well. There's a report that a private company in Ontario signed on to use Barnacle. Are you able to share the details about the company in Ontario? Or is that still a secret with you and Barnacle Parking?
I can't share the details. I know we have a customer up there using, but we currently have about 30 or 40 in the pipeline. So I suspect you're going to see it in Canada over the next 12 to 16 months, pretty much everywhere.
Colin, when you started this, did you have some sort of game plan or blueprint or goal in mind how it would unfold, or is this beyond even what you expected?
Well, we thought it was a great solution. We thought it would work everywhere. But, life is not a straight line, and business is always full of challenges. I mean, originally I thought we'd sell them, but then we realized that supporting the device and supporting the technology and the app and the software required a subscription model. So it's changed over the years. And then, frankly, COVID was, a real punch in the face. But, we all survived it, and I think that helped us regroup.
It's amazing. I just love the product. I love the concept. I love the science behind it. Barnacle Parking, as Jimmy Fallon says, it looks like SpongeBob on your windshield, but you have to pay the fine to get it off. For people who want more information, or maybe someone listening that maybe want to utilize your product, what's the website they should go to?
BarnacleParking.com. It's got all the information you need, and really appreciate your time this morning.
Well, Colin, it's my pleasure. It's a great product, and I just love your passion for it, and all the best in the future.
You too, and I should be rooting for the Canadians or the Maple Leafs?
The Maple Leafs, please.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to confirm that.
Thanks, Colin.
Have a great day.
You too.
Access off air using the TuneIn app or by asking your smart speaker. Play 1059 The Region.